Most people don't cry at 70 because they got old. They cry because life went by so fast they barely noticed it happening. Picture an old man sitting alone in his kitchen before sunrise. Coffee gone cold, quiet house. No more rushing, no more noise. Just the sound of the refrigerator humming in the dark. And suddenly, all the memories start showing up. The years he kept saying, "I'll slow down later. I'll spend more time with family later. I'll enjoy life when things settle down." But life never really settled down. His children grew up while he was busy working. His parents disappeared one hospital visit at a time. The people he loved slowly became strangers. Not because he didn't care, because he thought he had more time. And maybe that's the cruelest part of getting older, realizing you spent your whole life surviving without ever truly feeling alive. One day, money stops mattering. Success feels strangely empty. And all that's left are the moments you missed while chasing everything else. So before that day quietly reaches you too, ask yourself honestly, when you turn 70, what will hurt the most? The hard part is, this kind of regret doesn't suddenly appear when people turn 70. It starts way earlier. Sometimes it starts with a man driving home after work in complete silence, hands on the steering wheel, traffic barely moving. He's tired down to his bones, but he keeps telling himself this is just what adulthood feels like. He did everything right, worked hard, stayed responsible, paid the bills on time. So why does his life feel so strangely empty? Or maybe it's a woman standing alone in her kitchen at midnight. The dishes are done. Everybody else is asleep. She finally sits down for the first time all day and realizes something painful. Nobody has asked her if she's okay in a very long time. Not really okay. Some people disappear into work. Some disappear into responsibility. Some spend so many years taking care of everyone else that they slowly become invisible to themselves. And life becomes mechanical after a while. Wake up early, answer emails, fold laundry, pay mortgage, sleep, start over again. Weeks become months, months become years. A father says, "I'll spend more time with the kids when work calms down." Then one afternoon he notices his son's voice has changed, and his daughter no longer reaches for his hand in public. A woman keeps delaying visits to her aging parents because life feels busy and exhausting. Then one phone call changes everything, and suddenly she would give anything just to hear her mother's voice one more time in the kitchen. Even people who seem successful carry this quiet sadness around. Beautiful house, nice retirement savings, photos from vacations. But deep inside, something still feels missing. Because people don't only need money, they need closeness, they need warmth, they need someone who makes them feel seen. And honestly, one of the loneliest feelings in life is being surrounded by people but feeling emotionally abandoned anyway. A lot of people understand that feeling more than they admit out loud. They smile, they function, they keep moving, but inside they're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix anymore. And that sadness grows quietly over the years. Not dramatically, not all at once, just little pieces of life slipping away while nobody notices until it's too late. A lot of people spend most of their lives trying to become acceptable. Not happy, not fulfilled, just acceptable. Acceptable to their parents, acceptable to society, acceptable to everybody except themselves. And the sad thing is, this usually starts when people are very young. A little boy cries and somebody tells him to man up, so he learns to hide every emotion until one day he can't even explain what he feels anymore. A young girl notices that people praise her more when she stays quiet, helpful, easy to deal with. So she grows into a woman who says yes to things that slowly exhaust her. Then adulthood takes over, and the acting gets heavier. People wake up every morning, put on clothes for jobs they never really loved, sit through conversations that drain them, laugh politely at things they don't even find funny anymore. Some stay in marriages that have been emotionally empty for years because leaving feels selfish. Some choose safety over passion for so long, they eventually forget they ever had dreams at all. And none of this happens dramatically. That's what makes it dangerous. It happens slowly, quietly, over decades. A man reaches his 50s and realizes he hasn't felt genuinely excited about life in years. A woman who spent her whole life taking care of everybody else suddenly sits alone one afternoon, wondering who she could have been if she had chosen herself even once. That kind of thought stays with people. Because deep down, most already know when they're living a life that no longer feels like theirs. You feel it in small moments, Sunday evenings, long drives home, that strange heaviness after achieving something you thought would finally make you happy. People become responsible, reliable, successful. But somewhere in the middle of all that, they lose the version of themselves that once felt alive. And the world applauds them for it, for sacrificing, for staying busy, for ignoring their own needs year after year. Meanwhile, life keeps moving in the background. Hair turns gray, parents age, the body gets tired. And one day a person quietly wonders, if nobody needed anything from me anymore, would I even know who I am? The hopeful part is this. People usually don't lose themselves in one giant collapse. It happens slowly. So finding yourself again can happen slowly too. Not through some dramatic movie moment where you suddenly change your whole life overnight. Most real change is quieter than that, smaller, messier, almost easy to miss. Sometimes it's just a man deciding to go outside after dinner instead of sitting in the same chair watching television for 4 hours. At first it feels meaningless, just a short walk around the block. But after a while, something inside him softens. His mind gets quieter. He starts noticing the evening air again, the trees, the sound of dogs barking far away, his own thoughts. Or maybe it's a woman waking up before everybody else just so she can drink coffee alone in silence for 10 minutes before the chaos starts. No dishes yet, no phone calls, no one asking her for anything, just peace. People underestimate moments like that, but honestly, life changes through tiny habits more than huge decisions. Sometimes healing starts with one uncomfortable phone call, calling your father even after months of distance, texting your daughter first, finally saying, "I miss you," or "I was wrong." A lot of people keep waiting for some perfect future where they'll finally slow down and enjoy life. But life doesn't really happen later. It's happening now, in the middle of ordinary things. Standing at the kitchen sink while music plays softly, watching sunlight come through the window, laughing so hard during dinner you forget to check your phone. That's the stuff people miss when they get older, not the expensive things, the ordinary moments they rushed through without realizing they were actually living inside the good old days. And maybe that's why slowing down matters so much, because eventually people realize peace was never hiding in achievement. It was hidden inside moments they barely noticed while they were happening. There was an older man named Richard who once said something during an interview that honestly stayed with me for a long time. He was 72, the kind of man most people would probably call successful. Beautiful home, long career, financially comfortable, kids already grown. From the outside, everything looked fine. More than fine, actually. The kind of life people work themselves to exhaustion trying to build. But while he was talking, he suddenly got quiet and said, "I don't think my family ever really knew me." Not hated him, not abandoned him, just never truly knew him. And you could hear the regret sitting underneath those words. Richard spent almost his whole adult life working, leaving home while it was still dark outside, coming back late with tired eyes and a head full of unfinished problems from the office. Even when he sat at the dinner table, mentally he wasn't really there. He always believed he was sacrificing for the people he loved. A lot of people believe that. But life moves in a way that almost feels unfair sometimes. One minute your son is asking you to come outside and throw a baseball with him. Then suddenly he's older, busy, distant, building a life of his own. His daughter used to wait near the front window when she heard his car pull into the driveway. Then one day, she stopped waiting. No big dramatic moment, just time. That's how families slowly drift sometimes, quietly. Richard said there was one memory he could never forget. His little girl asked him to watch a movie with her before bed one night. She was maybe 8 years old. He barely looked up and said, "Not tonight. Dad's exhausted." Years later, he couldn't remember what movie she wanted to watch, but he remembered her walking away. Funny how the mind works like that. Near the end of his life, sitting alone in that retirement home room, he whispered something that sounded more painful than any confession. "I really thought there would be more time." And maybe that's what hurts people most when they get older. Not only the bad choices, the ordinary moments they kept postponing until there were no more tomorrows left to give them to. One of the hardest parts about getting older is realizing how many people slowly disappeared while you were busy dealing with life. Not all at once, little by little. A friend you used to talk to every week suddenly becomes someone you haven't heard from in years. Parents who once felt permanent somehow become old overnight. Even people you deeply loved can slowly drift away while both of you keep saying, "We should catch up sometime." Life has a quiet way of creating distance. A man skips a few family dinners because work is overwhelming. Then work stays overwhelming for 10 more years. Birthdays become rushed phone calls. Holidays feel shorter. Conversations become surface level. And eventually, the silence between people starts feeling normal. That's the scary part. People can adapt to loneliness frighteningly well. There are older men and women sitting alone right now in small, quiet houses, looking through photo albums, wishing they could relive one completely ordinary afternoon with somebody they miss. Not another promotion, not a bigger house, not more money. Just one more drive with their father, one more slow dinner with their wife, one more moment hearing laughter come from another room. That's what people ache for near the end. And somewhere during all those busy years, many people lose themselves too. Not in an obvious way. It's more subtle than that. They spend so long surviving that eventually they stop checking in with their own heart completely. What do I enjoy anymore? What makes me feel calm? When was the last time I actually felt excited to wake up? Everything turns into obligation. Pay bills, answer messages, handle stress, sleep, do it all again tomorrow. After enough years, people start feeling emotionally flat. Songs that once moved them don't hit the same. Christmas feels quieter. Even happy moments feel strangely distant, like they're watching life instead of living it. A lot of middle-aged people carry this exhaustion silently. Not just tired bodies, tired souls, because people were never meant to abandon themselves for decades at a time. And near the end of life, many older people say almost the same thing. I wish I had slowed down. I wish I had loved people better. I wish I had actually been there. Not more successful, just more present, more connected, more alive while life was still happening around them. There's probably a reason so many people start thinking about God more seriously as they get older. Not because aging suddenly makes life peaceful. Honestly, life usually gets heavier. By that age, people have already lived through enough heartbreak to understand things they ignored when they were young. Money matters, sure. Success matters, too. Having comfort in life matters. But none of those things sit beside you during the nights when your heart feels empty and you can't explain why. None of those things make loneliness disappear at 2 a.m. At some point, people begin wanting something deeper than achievement. Not more status, not more stuff. They want peace, real peace, the kind that lets a person breathe deeply again. They want meaning, forgiveness, a feeling that their existence was more than stress, routines, deadlines, and exhaustion. There's a verse in the Bible that hits differently when you get older. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Young people hear that and often move on quickly. Older people usually pause, because they know what it feels like to spend years chasing things they thought would finally satisfy them, only to arrive there and still feel empty inside. Another raise, another purchase, another year gone. And quietly, without realizing it, the soul gets neglected. Not from lack of achievement, from lack of closeness, lack of silence, lack of genuine love. Some of the warmest elderly people you'll ever meet are not the ones who lived perfect lives. Usually, they're the people who suffered enough to finally understand what truly matters. Sitting longer at the table after dinner, calling someone before pride gets in the way, saying "I love you" while there's still time for the person to hear it. Because eventually, life humbles everybody. One diagnosis can change everything. One phone call in the middle of the night. One ordinary morning that suddenly becomes the last normal day. That's why faith comforts so many people later in life, not because it erases pain, because it reminds people they are still worthy of love, despite all their mistakes, wasted years, and regrets. And near the end, most people realize something very simple. Nobody wishes they had worried more. They wish they had loved more deeply while they still had the chance. Maybe that's the quiet truth people finally understand when they get older. It's not simply that life is short. Everybody says that already. It's that life feels like it will go on forever, until one day it doesn't. And the strange part is, there usually isn't some huge warning sign. You just slowly start noticing things. Your parents walk a little slower. Your children stop needing you the same way they used to. The house gets quieter than before. And somehow the years that once felt endless start feeling unbelievably fast. That's when people begin missing the little things they barely noticed at the time. Morning coffee while somebody sat across from them. Background laughter from another room. Ordinary dinners on random Tuesdays. Simple moments that didn't seem important back then, but they were. Maybe that's why slowing down matters so much. Not quitting life, not escaping responsibility, just paying attention before everything becomes memory. Call somebody back. Sit outside a little longer in the evening. Put the phone down during dinner. Tell people you love them in plain, simple words while there's still time. Because eventually, all the rushing stops. And when people reach the later years of life, they rarely talk about the things they owned. They talk about people, moments, love, the times they were fully there instead of mentally somewhere else. So maybe the real question isn't whether you're getting older. We all are. The real question is this: are you actually living your life right now, or are you quietly watching it pass you by?